Welcome back to Inspired by Jimmy L, the reboot, where we do short and sweet, quick interviews to inspire you while encouraging myself along the way. Let's see who we have on today. Catch you on the other side. Everybody hates this question, so I'm going to give it to you.
Bring it.
What do you do and who are you?
Okay, so who am I? I'm a mom
Okay.
and I am a small business owner. And what do? I help people stop smoking because I struggled with smoking for myself for 15 years and had a really hard time because a lot of the approach that people take is very shame-based and very clinical. And I found that when I found spirituality and tapped into my heart that I was able to quit. So I want to share that with people. So that's what I do.
Wow. So Miss Jessie, let's tap into that now. So why you? Why do you feel that you have to be the one to kind of help people with their journey?
Because I love to help people. I've always wanted to help people. What I learned the hard way is that you got to take care of yourself first. And so I found myself like volunteering a lot and getting burned out and just getting like way too into things and had to like step back and like figure out my own mess first. So I am still doing it. It's not a done job by any means. I am learning stuff every day, but I just feel this call to help others and be a leader. And I've kind of always had that drive.
And I was going to actually ask you that. Has it been something that you've always kind of started to do? So how does that manifest for you when you say that you're helping others? Do they just reach out to you? You're reaching out to them? You see someone on the street? You just kind of spreading the news?
Kind of both. Like if I ever see anybody in trouble, my instinct is like, what can I do to help? It's hard for me to turn the other way when I see
Mm.
someone that's really in pain. And then people come up to me all the time. It's nuts. Whenever I go anywhere, my friends are always like, what is going on? Because people come up to me and ask me for directions and like where they should eat. So I kind of have that energy that like draws people in. And so it's a little bit of both, I guess.
So with the coaching, how do you, and I don't want to say blur the lines, but because at some point they have to do it for themselves. Like they have
Absolutely.
to actually want the help. How do you make sure that you're not overstepping those particular boundaries for someone that maybe not necessarily is ready to take the next step? Next step.
Well, first off, I'm not coaching. I wrote a book, so it's like self guide that you have to go through on your own. I do make
Okay.
content where I have videos and share some of my ideas and my experience, but really it's something that you're going to need to go through your own. So just to be able to pick up the book and read it is showing that commitment to take your life in your own hands, I think. Um, and I don't really ever tell people like, oh, you should quit smoking or anything like that because it's really, you have to want it. And that's what took me 15 years to actually really want it. I kept thinking that I wanted it, but there was something that I thought I was getting out of it. And so I had to really work on those beliefs that I was getting any benefits from it in order to follow through with it and really want it.
Any beliefs, you have to get rid of any beliefs about what exactly?
That there were benefits from smoking. Like we pick these up a lot from the culture, I think, is like, oh, smoking relieves stress or helps you
Oh,
focus or those kind of
gotcha.
beliefs. And then also the beliefs about
Gotcha.
yourself that, hey, I'm not worth it.
Yeah.
Things like that. The negative self-talk that keeps you stuck in an addiction where you just keep going back because you don't think that you deserve anything better.
And so how long have you been off of cigarettes now?
So I don't count days, which is
Oh,
I think is really helpful, but
oh
I
my gosh.
I think it's been 3.5 years.
That is so okay. So I'm kind of dealing with something very similar with alcohol in general. And so like one moment I felt like I was doing too much, and then I was just like, I don't know what's going on. I feel like I'm doing this now just for the sake of it. And so I'm like, I at this point, it's just like, okay, if I want it today, great. If I don't, then I'm not. So more so I'm not gonna do the whole month, or I'm not gonna do the whole year or the whole week. Today, not gonna do it. It sounds like when you say I'm not counting the days, like I love to hear that. I
Yeah.
love to hear that.
Yeah, you're putting your attention on it more than you ought to
More
be.
than so, I think Tom Holland just came out with something very similar to that in regards to his sobriety as well. So he was looking forward to that end goal, like he was looking forward to that first drink, so that he can, quickly get back into the habit of things. And so he was just like, and he found himself just consistently playing that over and over. So like I just kind of related. So I got it, love it. So you were smoking for 15 years. And I heard you bring up some of the shame that is often, I guess, given to smokers, I guess is what I should say. How does that typically manifest when it comes down to I want to be able to take responsibility for myself? Because I'm asking that along the lines of yes, someone is shaming. There is shame. There is out there that is out there that's being presented to this particular person, but there's also a bit of truth that's kind of behind what they're saying. So if I am a smoker and I hear you, what you're saying to me is true. How can I take the shame away from that and accept my responsibilities in that piece?
Well,
Or if you disagree with me, I'm all for it.
yeah, yeah. And I'm just thinking on it. I really think it comes down to your beliefs. So if you're there's kind of this thing, this idea out there that if you smoke, then you're going to be a smoker until you die. And so
Okay.
that's like really prevalent, and people feel like they can't help themselves, that they're bound to do this, that an addiction isn't a choice that you make every day. So as far as taking responsibility, the first step would be to acknowledge that it is a choice and that you can do it.
Mm-hmm.
And but you don't need to take it in the shame because there's absolutely nothing you can do to change the past. But you have the option at every moment to create your future.
I love that you said that. Like that's gonna just bring tears to my eyes because
Oh,
you don't have to accept the shame. I definitely agree with you on that piece. Like you don't like that's your thing. That is your thing. Like I reject that. I return it back to the sender. That's what I like to say.
oh yeah.
Like I return it.
Like a mirror, right back
Like
at
a
you.
mirror, like
Yeah.
seriously, like I love that. I love that you brought that back around. So thank you for that. So what are some of the biggest misconceptions if you're trying to start this newfound journey?
So yeah, if you're looking to quit smoking, I would really encourage you to take a look at the inner work, because that's what worked for me finally, is that I was just like focusing too much on the behavior. Like if I stop smoking, if I don't have cigarettes, if I don't see them, which is kind of silly because they're always just a block away.
Like
But
everywhere.
yeah, they're
Yeah.
always going to be there if you want to go do it. So it's really important to take a look at the thoughts. And what you can kind of figure out is that smoking is more of like a reaction to what is going on in your internal world. Like, so it's like you're abusing yourself with the cigarette smoking, but what's really happening, at least I've seen play out again and again, is that it's self-abuse on the inside. So you're
Mhm.
having these thoughts of
Mhm.
like loneliness, anger, depression, stress, and that's what triggers the craving to smoke. So if you start figuring out how to cope with those emotions, and they're not bad at all. It's not like you want to get rid of stress or you want to get rid of sadness or loneliness. They're part of life. So part of it is like acceptance. I guess is like a huge part of just like accepting that you have this range of emotions and that you can handle it and you don't need to hurt yourself to try to push that away. So just like processing your emotions and learning to regulate. And I still struggle with this. Like I learned how to regulate very, very, very late in life. And I still have times where I just, you know, completely shut down because it's like it shouldn't be this way. So acceptance helps me get through those where it's like, hey, it is this way. And am I going to meet it where it's at, or I'm going to try to hide away? And when you start to work with things, it actually helps bring out the qualities that you want in your life, that kind of lift you up and make you feel better, like strength, joy, resilience, love, compassion. All those kinds of things come out when you actually deal with the heavy emotions.
So let me, in regards to your personal emotions and kind of dealing with this and in your current journey, and I don't want to say dealing with this, it sounds so rude, but your current journey of staying away from cigarettes in regards to authenticity. When you were, because you said 15 years on or smoking, I
Hmm.
would assume that it became a part of your identity.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And so how much of that now that you created then when you were smoking versus who you are now off of smoking, does any of that kind of mirror or blur, or has it been a complete separation 100% where you're kind of starting a new thing, or is there bits and pieces of it that were created, that person that was smoking, that you still kind of hold to today?
Well, it's definitely a part of those experiences were important, and I don't want to like discount them because they've made me who I am. And sometimes, like I was talking about that regret, it's like, oh, if I had done things differently, but it's like, no, it had to be this way. It absolutely had to be this way because I wouldn't have learned and become who I wanted to be if I hadn't
Miss
done this.
Jessi.
Yes. But it's also just like getting past the ego. So I was like a really brainy kid and was like super into school, science all the way, and kind of just got stuck in like this first level that like, oh, all you are is your successes and how hard you work and your merits. And then I later in life I learned more about spirituality and was able to connect that there's something way deeper inside of us. Like we all have an inner gold that knows exactly.
Oh, I think I lost you. Uh, I think I lost you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, there it is. It just
Okay.
bounced back in. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh,
But
just saying that there's like something in us that is beyond the ego. It doesn't have a personality. It is completely like worthwhile. Like it just knows what is for our highest good and our purpose. And like it's so people call it intuition. That's how I understand it best. It's like you know exactly what you need to do, and there's nothing you need to earn or have to be worthwhile. You just know how to make yourself happy from just being a person, being who you authentically are, like you said.
I love authenticity. I love like I love authenticity just as much as I love positivity, to be
Yes.
honest with you. And that's why I asked the question, because I can only imagine that you created this person while you were smoking. You created this person. There's a lot of different habits. There's a lot of different things that you were doing that surrounded around smoking, or the people that were smoking in the group with you. And I'm just like, and kind of navigating through those relationships and navigating who you were then versus who you are now. And so I was really, really curious as to how that, that worked or played out in your life.
Yeah, I mean, really, it's just a behavior. It's not who you are at all. So you can change your behavior.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Like, thank you. I got it. So speaking of behaviors and life and prayer, the life that you are living now as a non-smoker, and even encouraging and inspiring others to kind of follow suit, is this something that you feel like you manifested, that you prayed for, that like, or did it just kind of sort of just happen?
It kind of just happened. I never thought I would be doing something like this. So I was like I said, I was really on the science track and had my job as a land surveyor in corporate, working 9 to 5, and then everything changed when I got pregnant. And just having the time to spend with my baby and having more time available kind of like opened up this creative window for me. And so I started writing again. And I was like finding that I would kept writing about this experience I had with addiction. So I was like, maybe I'll write this down and do a book and see if I can help other people.
So is there a goal in mind in regards to the number of people that you're looking to influence or inspire? Or is it just again, just so happen?
I mean, it would be great if nobody smoked. Like, I don't think I can manage that, but really, it only helps if it helps one person. That means the world to me, you know? So, yeah, those things are they're done.
So I get it. I am one. I've never like not touched the stuff. Like legitimately, I'm one of those few people that I've ever come across that, like younger in my younger days, my dad caught me trying to smoke one of his cigarettes,
Oh,
and I never even got a chance to light it. And so, but because of that, it put a taste in my mouth immediately. Cigarette smoke was just a no for me. And so, then not to mention, I have asthma. So I was just like, I have like 10 reasons. And I'm
yeah.
just like, and so it just never was one of those things for me. But when I see other people, I get it. I understand it. I understand it is a coping mechanism for the most part. And it is, a lot of times, like you said earlier, not wanting to deal with those emotions or kind of suppress what you're feeling or what you're dealing with. And this particular thing is just kind of aiding in that.
Well, I feel it comes
So,
up a lot in youth. Like you were saying that you were young when you tried, right? So
mhm,
it's a pattern I've seen is most people pick up smoking when they're young. And I think
mhm.
that what they're actually looking for is initiation.
Oh,
And
oh.
cigarettes kind of fill in that. And then like you build this emotional attachment over time. It doesn't start out that way, like, oh, I can't deal with my anger, I'm going to smoke. I mean, that only happens when you're addicted. So it's like,
I- Go ahead.
oh, and just that curiosity that young people looking for something, looking for some sense of adulthood, community. Um, I feel like that's what draws them in. And it's interesting too, because most initiation rituals are involve a lot of pain. And
Mm.
you didn't like that cigarette, but that first cigarette is not pleasant. It is very painful. So it takes like a certain kind of person to push through this and be like, "Ugh, I'm gonna keep going." You
Like
know what
other
I mean?
kids?
Like, yeah, like you gotta really work for it.
I did not know that. But you said something that really struck to me, and I know we're running low on time, but the initiation of it, and I guess even looking at my experience, it was just what I saw. It was my father. It was him in my mind being cool, and I thought I wanted to be that as well. And even the community around us, and him specifically, that equally smoked. Like it was a conversation, and not doing it, it almost felt like me being an outsider. And so
Totally.
I really didn't think about that until you just said that because it really is. It really is. It's like a fitting in of being one with the community of your surroundings. Wow. Hmm. Wow. Okay. All right, Miss Jessie. Like I said, I do apologize for getting low on time, but I definitely, I really have enjoyed this conversation. But before I ask my very final question, where can people find you and how can they continue to be inspired by you?
Right. So you can find my book at honoryourheart.net. It's called Honor Your Heart. And it's a real short book. So don't be scared if you're not a big reader. You can get through it in an hour or two. But it's got a lot of information in there. So definitely check that out. And then I do content on TikTok and on Instagram and YouTube. And all those links are on my website too. But I'm under Honor Your Heart or Jessi Hartnett.
Awesome. I will definitely be sure to link everything up.
Great.
So, my final question for you, of course, like I said earlier, I love positivity. So, what has inspired you today?
Inspired me today. It's
Hmm.
just to live in the moment. My
Okay.
daughter keeps me there. I have a 1.5-year-old,
Oh,
and
yes. Oh,
get
yes.
getting lost in my thoughts, and she always just brings me back. She's like, "Hey, I'm right here. Pay attention to me." So I just love that she teaches me so much every day, and enjoying my time with her. And each day is ups and downs, and it's just a blessing.
All right. I love that. I love the kids are amazing. So, But anyway, I love that. I love that. I'm really glad to have been able to have this conversation with you, Miss Jessie.
Me too.
And
Thank you.
everybody else, until I see you on the next one.